Hello and welcome to episode 63 of Tech A Break with me, Andrew Reid from Resilient Business Systems. Adam is actually guest editor today. He's behind the controls. Hi, Adam.
Hello.
Hello, Adam.
Hello.
You can't see him. We have a very, very special guest today. I am super excited about this episode. Can I introduce Keith Wilson? Good morning.
Good morning.
How are you, sir?
Very good, thanks, yeah.
Very good, well indeed. Right, so for our listeners, it's going to be a bit easier if you tell us who is Keith Wilson, how did you get onto the podcast, what's the link, and how can we talk about this?
Right, so I've got Parkinson's.
Right.
That's the number one thing. And I discovered that using a virtual reality headset really helped with my Parkinson's.
Wow.
And so from there, with Victoria McFall of Vixie Wellbeing,
Yes.
we now run classes for people with Parkinson's using the headsets, and they've been very successful. So they don't suit everyone, but for those who it helps, I'm on a mission now to kind of spread the word.
That is fantastic. So I met Kelly at the MSG Elevate.
Yeah.
So that was when it was hosted. We've had actually Catherine on, so that was great. So when I met Kelly there, I actually had my VR headset there, and oddly enough, it was a roller coaster ride. And Kelly came across and she went, "Oh, VR headsets! I know all about these." And I was like, "Sorry, how do you know all about these?" And then she explained what she was doing with yourself, and I'm like, "Oh my Lord, please, 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 will you come on the podcast?" And that's when she obviously mentioned about yourself. So. Forgive me in terms of this, Keith. You've got Parkinson's disease. How long have you had it?
5 years.
5 years. And I will say this with the utmost respect. You don't... Parkinson's has got a very sort of defining nature about it. You don't look as though you've got it. And I say that respectfully. Is that, you were saying something about before, normally you're on so many tablets a day?
Yeah. So there's about 40 different symptoms with Parkinson's.
Right.
The tremor's the most obvious one.
Yes.
And I work hard at not displaying the tremor. And so it's a bit mind over matter in a way. But normally after 5 years, you expect people to be on 6 tablets a day of levodopa.
Yes.
So if I just explain it,
please.
Basically, with Parkinson's disease, it's an enzyme which eats away at your dopamine cells in your brain.
Right.
And the dopamine cells are what links your brain with your muscles. So your brain works fine and your muscles work fine, but they just don't link together anymore.
Get lost on the way.
Yeah.
Right.
It's like some kind of chemical electrical interference in
right.
the transmission. So that's the problem. And what I discovered was that by using a headset, I can generate dopamine to replace the cells which have been eaten away.
It's incredible. But
and I generate them on a daily basis. So every day I try and do either something that gives me adrenaline boost or something that gives me a dopamine boost.
Yes.
To replace the dopamine that's been lost.
Been lost, right.
I take 1 tablet a day, and the tablet is actually an enzyme blocker rather than a dopamine replacement.
Wow. So you must be a bit of a star in terms of thing and putting onto this. So I think, again, we had a very brief chat beforehand. The VR set was not how you found out. You said you were a very avid climber?
That's right, yes. So when you're first diagnosed, nobody tells you anything about how much exercise you need to do or what kind of things you can still do. Nobody tells you about virtual reality.
No.
And I discovered I was diagnosed just before lockdown, and during the first stage of lockdown, I was confined to the house, and
yes, of course,
like everybody was. And you think, your life's over in terms of being active and outdoors. And the first time it eased, I went to the Lake District with my climbing pals as a sort of farewell gesture,
Yeah.
So this will be my last ever climb. And when I started to do the climb, it was a big one, 300 foot, and the first 100 foot was exactly as I feared. I was very slow, lethargic,
yes,
tired, and not really with it. And then, about halfway up, suddenly the adrenaline kicked in because of the drop, and the adrenaline made me feel quite normal. And I actually led the last part of the climb. And so I realised that if I could get an adrenaline kick every day of some description, that would help. And I saw the consultant, and she told me that chemically, adrenaline is very similar to dopamine.
Right.
And almost kind of, one's kind of on the way to becoming the other sort of thing.
Yes, of course.
And so then you know, going downhill fast on my bike does the trick.
Oh gosh.
And then I was and then when lockdown started to end, I was taking twin godsons to America.
Yes.
And I asked my consultant about going on roller coaster rides, wondering whether it might do me damage or do me good.
Yeah, of course.
And she said if I can withstand them physically, the adrenaline would actually do me good.
Yes.
So I did 37 roller coaster rides in a week.
I love that.
And I felt quite normal. And my wife was stunned. And my wife and my brother, because my brother lives in America, they both said, you know, that they couldn't believe the transformation in me. Obviously, it doesn't last.
Of course.
For a very long time.
Yes.
But certainly, I was more chatty. I was more animated, and felt quite normal.
Yes, of course.
Like turning the clock back, really.
Oh, that is fantastic news. So obviously then, after that, you must have come back to the UK and you thought, how can I simulate the exact same feelings? And that's when you started looking into VR sets.
Yeah. So I give my wife the credit for this, because she said, you know, she said some of those rides weren't real, you know, they were virtual. So if you can replicate the virtual aspects of them in some sort of booth, you know, then it might do the trick.
Yeah.
And then we discovered it through Victoria, whose son's really good with the headsets, that you can get a virtual roller coaster ride. And
yes.
So I went out and bought one. Well, we bought two actually. But you know, my wife says, "There's no point you being on the headset and me not, just sitting watching."
I love it. I love it.
We bought two the same day. Went on the virtual roller coaster rides, which are free.
Yes, they were. Yeah.
And absolutely spot on. You know, it did the trick. So about 3 times a week, and if I couldn't get out on the bike or I couldn't go on the climbing wall, I'd put the headset on, have 15 minutes on a roller coaster, and Bob's your uncle, I was fine.
That's incredible. So is it only the roller coaster rides that you do, Keith, or have you found other games that, you know, provide you with the endorphins?
Other games do it as well, but roller coasters is the default one for me.
Yeah, absolutely, because it's easy, isn't it? You sit there and then you feel that rush.
Yeah.
And obviously, for those people that haven't had the VR experience, I know Bless Catherine had a go. You do obviously it tricks the brain, and you do feel like, oh my goodness me, you know.
Absolutely. So you got a neurological condition. So anything which affects your neurological aspects of your brain.
Yeah.
Got to be worth looking at, got to be worth trying.
Yeah.
You know, and I don't understand why it hasn't become more well known that, you know, because so I came, sorry, I'm getting a bit
no, you please don't worry.
So I started to look at research. I went on online and I put in virtual reality for Parkinson's, virtually nothing.
Nothing at all.
Virtually nothing.
Wow.
Odd tiny little bits to do with strokes and what have you. And I thought, well, you know, it's got to be worth investigating. And then Parkinson's UK had a funding bid for exercise related material. And somebody, well, the former chair of the Darlington Group said to me, Keith, have you got any bright ideas so we can break through the apathy for exercise? And I said, well, you could try VR headsets because it's working for me.
Yeah. So
then I had to look at things that were to do with exercise on VR.
Yes.
So Tai Chi, boxing.
Yes, yeah, it's all there.
And that's really good. And Beat Saber's marvellous.
I love that game.
Beat Saber's my favourite.
Is it? Fantastic. What's your favourite song?
Rolling Stones.
You are top of that list.
Foo Fighters.
Absolutely, that's a great one. I really like that. I love that one. Doesn't half get you going though, doesn't it? With a
oh yeah. So now I got my exercise bike on a turbo in the garage.
Yes.
Put the headset on, and I can pedal away and do Beat Saber for an hour.
Oh my goodness me! Talk about mixing it up. That's incredible.
It really works, you know.
Yeah.
And now there's some research come out to endorse that from Spain, saying that being on an exercise bike is really good for people with Parkinson's, but you get bored very quickly.
Yes.
And using a headset actually can sustain the activity for much longer. So it's probably better for you.
This is incredible stuff. So you are literally at the forefront, cutting technology. So again, may I ask, in terms of your age, you obviously led a perfectly healthy life. Where did you used to work?
Darlington College.
Darlington College, amazing. What were you doing there?
I was head of HE at the end.
Oh my goodness me. That's incredible stuff as well. So, obviously when did you, again, if you don't mind me asking, did you retire from there before you realised you had Parkinson's? So you were just enjoying your retirement?
Right. I retired 14 years ago from full time.
Wow.
And then went to Teesside University and Sunderland University, where I was lecturing in history and management.
Wow.
Two very different. So management at Teesside and history at Sunderland. And then my daughter got a pub, the Oak Tree in Middleton St George.
Oh my goodness me, where I live yet.
So I helped her run the pub for 5 years.
Yeah.
And then finally retired in sort of when I was
retired again.
Retired again. Yeah. And then developed Parkinson's.
I'm sorry, I'm not laughing, but that's a heck of a run of a life you've had there, and it's fantastic. Yeah. So obviously, again, if I can gently touch, I think you're absolutely right. When anybody hears, of somebody that's got Parkinson's, everything just and I think, to quote yourself, you're like, my life's over, it's all going to end. During lockdown, that must have hit you really hard, because obviously you got diagnosed and then, right, I'm sorry, you're confined to the house.
Yeah. And my mission now is to say life isn't it, and then when you've got Parkinson's, because because my speech disappeared.
Yes.
During lockdown.
Right.
And with the Parkinson's, speech therapy. After 1 year of diagnosis, I needed speech therapy.
Wow.
And speech therapy gave me all the tools, the mind over matter thing.
Yes.
And I still have to practice every day.
Yes.
With my speech, I'm not very happy about my diction.
Yeah.
And I stutter over lots of things. And there's a new piece of technology coming out called a beach band, which is supposed to, I've tried it out actually. I've tried out a prototype.
Yeah.
Stopped me stuttering and made my voice clearer. I can't wait for that one to come out.
Definitely.
So I've got, I'm always looking at new technology. Sorry, where was I? Lost my train of thought there.
You were in the house with confined COVID speech therapy.
Yeah. So because of the speech therapy, eventually I started singing. I'm in 2 choirs now. So
incredible.
I've got a new life as a singer, and I've got a new life in terms of virtual reality. So you think your life's over, but actually you just got different pathways to open up for you. And
absolutely, and there's one of the things that people do say when you do start investigating, because obviously I did do a little bit of investigation prior to that, and I think, if I can say respectfully, Keith, I think there are 2 traits of life. Somebody who will have, let's say, a disease diagnosed, they will literally just flop and go, well, that's it, I've had enough now. There tends to be the other people where they'll go, okay, well, it's not going to stop me. And they seem to absolutely go on a charge. Yeah, and that's where you're coming from. Yeah. And going, it's not going to stop me. And obviously the things that you've seen and heard and worked on is incredible stuff.
Yeah. And so Parkinson's UK simulated the idea of needing to do exercise with VR.
Yeah.
So then I put a bid with Victoria. We put a bid in to Parkinson's UK for some funding.
Yes.
And at first it was rejected, and I thought, well, by then I was convinced I was on the right track. So,
of course, you must have been.
So I crowdfunded.
Right.
And we bought 10 headsets and set the classes going. And at that point, Parkinson's UK then opened up the bid and put another bid in, and this time they paid for. We got some money. We ran classes for 16 weeks free.
Yep.
So we had 2 runs of 8 weeks, and the first cohort in particular were all the people who were like me, myself, buzzing and desperate to try and help themselves.
Yes, basically. Of course.
Because again, some people when they get diagnosed become very dependent.
Yes.
But others really fight to hang on to their independence, and those people are the ones who benefit from the headsets.
Yeah. So was there a definite marked improvement, like yourself?
Oh, tremendous, yeah.
Oh, fantastic.
So I mean, and most of them have written case studies. I've had case studies done on them now. And I mean, just to give you an example, Middlesbrough Town Hall had a International Older Persons Day.
All right, yes, yeah.
I went along to that. I took my turbo bike and my headset to demonstrate. One of my clients came along.
Yeah,
John. John was early onset Parkinson's, and you won't mind me saying this. He was fairly newly diagnosed and had become very isolated, very inward looking, staying in the house.
Yes.
And he came along to one of my talks and he was desperate. He was one of the first people that we recruited to the headsets.
Oh.
and he's absolutely fantastic. And he bought his own headset very quickly.
Yeah.
And when he went to see his Parkinson's nurse couldn't believe the transformation in him, because not only had he become more sociable and more talkative and more outgoing, but also he'd got enough confidence to go back to the gym properly. So he was doing virtual exercise with a headset and also going to a proper, to a real life gym.
This is incredible.
So he's a real good success story, John.
Well, as yourself, together. Yeah. So again, we chatted previously just before you came on. You said you'd retired, but you want to go back into like work. But you said you wanted to have a title, an activist.
Oh yeah. So So I'm in the process of getting some business cards done, and I'm going to call myself a Parkinson's activist.
Fantastic.
Because researcher sounds a bit too grand, a bit staid, and a bit looking for ethical approval and all the rest of it. And so so it's going to be your mission to try and get these, to try and present to these people that potentially the virtual headsets, the adrenaline rush, can help them, and as in the case of yourself and John, totally transform their lives. Yeah, absolutely.
That's amazing.
And things are starting. 2 years on, things are starting to pick up pace now.
Right.
So just this week, I've had an email from Parkinsons UK asking me in March next year, can I take some headsets down to London and demonstrate them to all the staff down there?
That's
absolutely
amazing.
I can't wait for March.
Oh, you're going to blast them away. Absolutely. You're going to take your bike as well, or just the headsets?
Just the headsets. I'll not be going on the train. But I did take the bike down to the Parkinson's conference in Leeds, Leeds Armoury.
Yes, beautiful place.
Yeah. And so I was invited to go and demonstrate the headsets, and I took me bike, headset. There were several headsets, and my wife came and Victoria came. So I was doing the practical side.
Yes.
With a Beach Saber and the bike. I had it cast to my phone.
Yes.
So people walking past could see what I could see.
Yeah, of course.
And Victoria and my wife Jill, they were talking to people and showing them other headsets, and other people could try them out.
Were you the star of the show?
well, I've been invited to a do in London on December the 9th. Partly as a result of being at Parkinson's conference in Leeds.
Wow, you're going to be royalty soon. I'm going to have to ask your valet if we can have the next podcast.
Famous for being poorly.
I like that. I love that. So in terms of, if I may ask, in terms of your lady wife, Jill, it must be amazing for her as well to see the transformation that you are back to, what she knows, loves and married, in terms of where you probably thought you were going to be at this time in your life.
Yes and no. I mean, she sees a deterioration,
right?
And she worries about the future.
Of course,
she tries not to worry about it.
Yeah.
But, daytime, as I said, the main problems in daytime is my speech, my writing, and my posture. But the nights are the worst. You see, the cramps and lack of sleep.
Right.
And just, I guess generally just, it's hard to distinguish, are you becoming old and frail, or is it the Parkinson's speeding up?
Exactly.
So she's got arthritis in her hands and elbows, and she just says basically we're both getting old together. we both help each other.
Absolutely.
But,
yeah. But obviously, if you're zooming off to all of these conferences, it must be nice to at least take her along. You're part of that and part of that whole feel and buzz that you get.
Yeah, and doing podcasts like today gives me a buzz, and that'll see me all right for tonight.
That's fantastic. They're actually great. So again, are you now becoming, may I say, are Parkinson's UK now taking an interest in what you're doing now? Are they taking it on board and they starting to push it?
Yes, very much so. I mean, so. The first run which was January last year, I think, Parkinson's UK came in and saw what we were doing. The Northern Echo came, BBC came, RTV were scheduled to come, but they got hit by one of the storms and didn't make it.
Yeah.
But and Middlesbrough Health people have been, so lots of like dignitaries have been and seen it in action.
Yes.
And when the guy there's a guy called I've forgotten his name now. He's just left Parkinsons UK actually, but he came and he walked in. And the room was quite small. This is everybody was up on the feet doing boxing and Zumba and what have you. And he couldn't believe that they weren't bumping into each other because you set up the virtual boundaries.
Of course, of course.
And he was absolutely. And he said, if you need any help, any more funding, just go ahead and apply for it. And he was very supportive. And then when the BBC came and did an interview and the feature for Look North.
Yeah.
So it was on Look North on the television.
Wow.
But when they did the radio, they got this guy from Parkinsons UK to do an interview over the phone, and he was incredibly supportive.
Oh, that's lovely to hear. Yeah, fantastic in terms of that. So going back to the technology, if I may, Keith, what type of headset is it? Is it the Oculus Quest, or is it the other one, the Hive, or is it another make?
No, we use MetaQuest.
Right. Okay, then. Yeah.
Originally MetaQuest 2s.
Yes.
And the latest funding from Parkinsons UK has enabled us to buy some MetaQuest 3s.
Yeah. Perfect.
So I'm going to put the 2s out on loan.
Yeah.
For people who can't get into the Vixie gym.
Right. Okay, then. So that's really good from that point of view.
So from January onwards, we'll be launching the loan service. So people with Parkinsons who need to who can't travel for whatever reason, we can take one out to them, and we offer tutorial support to get them going, and they can ring in or they can video in.
Yeah. Oh, well, that's amazing. Will that just be local Northeast, or will that cover the UK?
Well, the initiative came from Swaledale.
Right.
So people in Swaledale obviously can't make it.
No, of course not.
The gym's on the airport, on the Teesside Airport.
Yeah.
We have people travelling from North Tyneside at the moment.
Gosh, that is quite a way, isn't it?
And but if people come from North Tyneside and they get on really well with a headset, after 2 or 3 weeks, they go and buy their own.
That's the whole idea, isn't it?
Absolutely, yeah.
Yeah, so they get to trial it first, and as your friend John did, he trialed it and then thought it's worth an investment. And obviously, to be fair, the MetaQuest, they are still a couple of £100, but it's within reach, if you know what I mean.
Absolutely, yeah.
Yeah.
And MetaQuest 3s are I don't know if you know, but you've got the option of having augmented reality rather than virtual reality.
Yeah, definitely. I've got the two, and I'm looking for the 3, but I'm just not doing it just yet. But certainly, when I had the very, very first one, the Oculus Rift Black, that was just a big bulky thing. There was no pass through. With the number 2, I can now tap on the headset, and it does pass through. But I believe the 3 is now stepping up to that augmented reality.
Yeah, and it's a game changer for us because some people don't take being in the virtual world.
Right.
And this gives you the option of being in the virtual world and combined with the real world. So, for example, if someone's deaf, they can be in the augmented world, and you can still sign language to them.
Of course you can. Never thought of that. That's incredibly clever. So you really are at the cutting edge. Again, just out of interest with what you were saying with the climbing, have you tried the climbing game in the Oculus Quest? I can't remember exactly what it's called, but it's
just called Climb.
That's the one. I got that one, and I can remember looking down and I'm like, oh my goodness me, that's a long way up, and obviously you've got to navigate and you jump, and you thought, I find that incredible.
Yeah. The one I prefer is the National Geographic Antarctic one, because you do ice climbing with there.
Gosh,
and
right.
It's ever so realistic. You've really got to put your ice axes in properly, and you can see the ice changing. Yeah. If you don't get it in right, it
starts to slip. Oh gosh! And again, that gives you the endorphin rush?
Yeah, it's very, very realistic. And you look down, you can see a penguin. With hundreds of feet below you.
Yeah, exactly. And it's to say, I find
the real current one that I'm loving at the moment is. You go to the top of Everest and you go to the top of Matterhorn.
Wow!
It's been filmed in 360, so it's not a game.
No,
but it's a completely immersive experience. And so you can stand on the top of the Matterhorn, or go halfway up the Matterhorn and look down.
Yeah.
And I did it for real 35 years ago.
Gosh,
and doing it again in virtual reality, it's wonderful because I've got photographs that I can compare. photographs of when I did it for real and
Yeah.
what it looks like in virtual reality.
I was going to say, my father, bless him, he's 80, can't quite get on with the virtual reality because he's got tinnitus and he loses his balance very, very, very easily. However, I have got that program that you're talking about, and I sat him down, and it was in the early days of Google Earth. And he basically, and I said to him, where would you like to go? Matterhorn. He said, I'd like to go to the Matterhorn. I typed in and he rushed off to the Matterhorn, and you could see he was gripping on because he was like, oh God, that's really incredible. Unfortunately, he could only last about 10 minutes, but he was saying that was incredible experience. I've never been to the Matterhorn. I can say that I have now. So have you been to other places that you've not gone in real life and found the same sort of like adrenaline rush?
Yeah. So, I mean, I in real life, I've been to Everest Base Camp.
Oh, my goodness me.
So I went to Everest Base Camp in virtual reality, and it was really good because, again, you can see the cameraman's shadow, which looks like your shadow as you're walking along. And you go to the monastery, and the monastery is actually better in virtual reality than it was in real life because it's lighter.
Yes.
And you can make it out, and you can spin the prayer wheels and what have you.
Yeah.
But then in virtual reality, you can go all the way to the summit.
Yes, of course.
And you're walking along the summit ridge, and you can see some legs sticking out of the snow. Really very, very tragic. And but you can pause it. At any point you can pause. You can look around. You can see exactly name all the other mountains. You can see which ones you've climbed, where you've walked, everything like that.
So it really is a massive world. I mean, we had Adam helped me, the library young lady. Susie. We went to see Susie, who's Darlington Library in the town, and they've got a fantastic virtual reality basically room where they've said they've got about 30 children that can come along and experience. And she was saying that they have some children that can go in the caves and they can jump around. And she said for the children, it's incredible because they would, they've never had the opportunity because being so young, but to actually give them that experience. She says that their whole team came alive and they were just talking and buzzing about where they've been. Like, oh, did you do this and did you do that? Personally, I find that virtual reality has opened a whole new world for people.
Yeah. So just give you an example from last night. I was on a Zoom call last night with some consultants, and these consultants were people who had to monitor the spend last year.
Yes.
And this was to do a completely different project.
Right.
And it was the same person in charge, and obviously so she knew me. And she said, Keith, I have to tell you that somebody today was talking about doing exercise. And so they did 15 minutes a day on a treadmill, 15 minutes a day on an exercise bike, 15 minutes a day, 15 minutes a day, virtual reality headset doing table tennis. And when they said about the virtual reality, they came alive.
Yes.
She says it became more animated, more smiley, and clearly that was the bit they enjoyed.
Yes.
The other two were trudges, and I said, well, tell her when she's on the exercise bike, she can do them both.
Yeah, of course you can. Yeah, like you do with your Beat Saber.
Yeah.
Yeah. It is fantastic. Where do you feel, I mean, obviously you are well up to date with the virtual reality. Looking ahead, do you believe augmented reality will begin to take over from virtual reality, or do you think it will stay the same and just get better and better?
Personally, I'm quite happy in the virtual world.
Right.
But I know that some people are not.
Yes, of course.
And so the augmented reality's got a bigger future, I think.
Yeah. Okay.
For all kinds of reasons.
No, absolutely. But again, I remember,
particularly if you've got balance problems.
Yes.
I mean, it's helped me tremendously with my balance.
Yeah.
And again, just to give you a tiny little example. I used to have to sit down and put my trousers on. I can put my trousers back on standing up again now.
That's amazing. Because obviously that is a big difference.
And that's from Beat Saber. So I started Beat Saber sitting down. But, it took quite a long time before I had the confidence to stand up. Now I can stand up and do Beat Saber.
Just jump to Beat Saber. Obviously, are you really proficient at it? Do you also get the blocks coming at you where you duck and you dodge? And
Yeah. I'm still on easy.
It makes no difference. I've tried medium. I can't do it. Neither Adam said neither can he.
I've had one A grade, one perfect score, and it was when I was on the exercise bike.
Wow. pedaling away as well and doing the Beat Saber. I'm just loving this.
Only the once.
Only the once, though. But you keep practicing.
Oh, yeah.
So what I was going to say was that when I very first got into the Oculus Rift, I probably, whilst it was amazing, Keith, it was very basic.
Yeah.
So some of the games were very blocky. Some of the games were good in terms of experience, but you could tell they were cartoonish. Now, when I look and play Beat Saber, when I look and play Climb, when I play some of my other horror games, it is honestly world-changing. And obviously these 360 graphics, as you say, I've sat in a chair and I've sailed, I took a boat trip down the Amazon in one of the canoes, and that is so relaxing. I genuinely lost, and I tried to put my hand in the water. I'm like, all right, I'm not actually here. But you do get lost in it, don't you? It tricks the brain amazingly.
Yeah.
That's fantastic. So some of the other things that you were talking about briefly at the start, you were mentioning about some research going ahead in Scotland. Can you tell us a little bit more about that, please?
I'll try. I'm being a bit political now.
All right.
Yeah. So Parkinsons UK are funding a big study in Robert Gordon University in Scotland.
Right.
And they're using the Stroll headsets.
Yes.
And Stroll's a multi-million-pound startup company.
Yeah.
And so you can't buy their headsets.
No.
You can rent them under supervision of physiologists.
Right. Okay. Yeah.
I'm not sure. But anyway, and so the funding was granted back. The project was meant to start in April, I think, and that's when I got to know about it, because I basically I was on a conference call with Parkinsons UK with the board of governors, and I asked them why progress towards VR was so slow. And they said, well, there's not enough robust evidence yet. And I said, well, I was looking for it because I've got 40 pieces from all around the world.
Yes.
I said, well, to be honest, we're going to fund a research project up in Scotland.
Right.
So I said, oh, great, and using the Stroll headsets, which is fine because it's a bit more medically based. And more
right, I'm with you, yeah.
And it was started by people who and it's all about gait analysis.
Right, I'm with you.
So for me, it's a bit small scale, a bit conservative, and then this week there was a conference from the North of Scotland Research Group who gave us an update on it.
Yeah,
and it was very good call. But the update was that it's going to take a year to get ethical approval.
Right.
Now, to me, I'm in a rush. Partly because of my age, but partly because of my experience. I just want people to know that it's possible. So somebody last night on this call last night was the partner, the carer for someone who's newly diagnosed, and I just said, look, just consider it.
Yes.
Try if you get a chance, try one out. You've got nothing to lose.
No, of course not.
And that's the message I'm trying to get across to people, is that virtual reality has helped me. And I know it's helping lots of other people. And and I don't understand what people's reluctance and reticence to get involved.
Yeah.
Now Middlesbrough Town Hall said to me, somebody from Middlesbrough Care said, "Oh, we came and saw your project. We're really excited. We think it's absolutely great, but there's not enough research." And I went, how much research have people actually done?
Yeah.
Because I get research alerts every day. I troll through every abstract looking for stuff mentions of VR.
Yeah.
I've now got a file of 40 different abstracts of China, Hong Kong, Spain, Israel, Canada, America, Malta, Greece.
Gosh.
There's loads of stuff coming out on VR and Parkinson's.
Yeah.
But nobody knows pushing and collating it and putting it all together.
Yeah.
To be fair, most of it's about how it can benefit clinicians, how it can benefit diagnosis and gait analysis.
Yes.
But and my general criticism of all that is it doesn't look at it from the patient's point of view.
No, of course not. It doesn't.
The patient's experience, how much people enjoy it. So some of the American research is stuff that people are doing, like memory games and even the Stroll stuff is like splat the rat and stepping over obstacles. It's all very, very, very small and
Yeah, I know what you mean.
For me, a bit tedious, a bit conservative.
Yes.
And you know, in the we've got Vixie's gym with Victoria. You know, we give people, we have, you know, obviously we buy the programs people to use, and you know, but Beat Saber goes down a storm.
Oh, I can imagine.
And you know, and boxing goes down a storm, and Tai Chi goes down well, Zumba goes down well, and people want to be active.
Yeah, of course they do, and they want to enjoy it as well.
Absolutely, yeah, and I just think that the establishment generally has been far too conservative and slow moving for you know.
It does seem odd from me looking on the outside that, you know, I well appreciate the project in Scotland with the Stroll headsets, but to me, like the MetaQuest, it's within reach. The Beat Saber game's like a few pennies really in comparison.
Yeah. So I mean, I've described it as being, you know. When you get on an airplane and if you want business class service with all the, you know, all the bottles of champagne,
absolutely,
and whatever, then Stroll is like the standard. It's
absolutely
like going to Hilton,
yes.
You know, and I'm down the Ryanair end, you know? but you go on the same plane, we're going to the same place.
Absolutely, that is a fantastic
I think
analogy.
I might get there faster.
And you're enjoying yourself. I love that analogy. That's brilliant, Keith. Absolutely fantastic. The Ryanair, it's fantastic. So, what do you believe are the plans? I mean, obviously, I can't wait for this loan. That's going to open up a massive amount to other people. Do you feel that once that comes in the new year, do you feel it'll start to begin to gain more? Like, obviously, the more people that shout about it, surely the more people have got to take notice.
Oh, I hope so. Yeah.
Yeah, I hope so as well. Yeah.
Certainly shouting loud.
You are shouting very, very, very loud. So what other plans have you got potentially? You know, obviously, as you said, the loan next year. Is it to get it more known? Is it to be... I mean, obviously, Parkinsons UK, they must have you on speed dial, do they?
Well, I get messages most days from you know, it's a big organisation.
Of course it is.
It's a very successful organisation as well. And
yes.
Very, very incredibly well organised.
Yeah.
I mean, the Parkon in the conference in Leeds was absolutely superb.
Yeah,
I was buzzing for days after being there. You know.
Oh, fantastic!
And you know, I was on display for one day. The second day was just as good. You know.
Yeah. On display, I got this idea of you in a cabinet and you just Beat Saber. And this is Keith.
I wasn't behind glass, but it's near enough what I was doing.
Near enough exactly what it was. But you must have loved that as well because you were constantly saying, I'm doing exactly what I love.
Yeah.
Cycling and speed sabering. Beat sabering, fantastic. So yeah, any other plans or what's your goals for next year to try and get this more well known?
I'm quite thrilled about the invitation for March.
Absolutely.
To speak to all the Parkinsons staff and take as many headsets down as I can.
Yeah.
And just to carry on, really, get my business cards out. So I do presentations and demonstrations, you know, free of charge to anybody.
Wow.
So and I mean the other thing is that I've been invited to a dementia conference in January. So yeah, better explain. Parkinsons UK funded two runs of classes for free.
Right.
And then the third run was with the leftover money from the crowdfunding that I did to buy the headsets.
Yep.
And the third run, we invited people with other neurological conditions. So we had multiple sclerosis, MND, and dementia.
Right.
But in terms of research, they're more advanced than Parkinsons UK research.
Oh, well, that surprises me.
Yeah. And so we had quite a lot of success with those kind of client groups as well. And I'm a bit worried that I get sucked into trying to, you know, being called as an expert in anything other than Parkinson's, because I'm not, you know.
No, of course.
I'm only an expert in Parkinson's because I've got it. You know?
Bless you, though. Can I ask, did you see the same results for the people with the other, you know, the dementia? Did the VR affect them in the same way?
Yeah. So we've got a guy with dementia, early onset dementia, and he's very, very non-verbal.
Right.
But you put him on the headset, and he goes to Everest, and he all smiles, and he's saying, "See you next week," and thumbs up. And
again, great to see.
Yeah.
It, as I say, it's just going back to your wonderful analogy about Ryanair. This is actual real life people gaining benefit from it. Yeah. You would have thought, and again, I'm no expert, and I don't want to call you an expert in that. But for me, the people are getting the buzz, and we're seeing real world live examples of that. You would have thought Parkinson's was going, well, actually, this is quite easy. I'll buy a couple of thousand of these headsets and then just provide them as part of whatever we can. And surely we are making their lives better.
Yeah. I mean, it's about 18 months ago I said to Parkinsons UK, almost kind of flippantly, that in the long term, if you could get a headset on the NHS, it would save money on drugs.
Well, of course it would. It's, again, perfect analogy in terms of that. I mean, just nowhere near, but last year I was diagnosed with very high blood pressure and diabetes, and purely because of my work style, my lifestyle. I did it all wrong, Keith. I worked very, very hard, drank and ate all the wrong things, but the same principle is, bless my doctor, he said, you can either go on this diabetes remission program, which is like 800 calories, very hard, or you can stay on the tablets for the rest of your life, but you've got to be careful. Well, obviously, the right thing to do is to go on the diet. I lost 3 stone in 12 weeks. My blood pressure is now normal. My blood sugar is now normal. I'm going to go for my test shortly. And the whole idea that the doctor explained it to me is they fund this course, but actually in the long run, the NHS saves millions because I'm not giving you tablets anymore. And to me, you just explained the exact same way. If they can do relatively cheap, may I say, these headsets, but it saves, you're on 1 tablet a day, whereas, as you said at the start, you should be on 6 a day. That's 1 tablet. Well, we're saving, aren't we? 100% saving money there. So hopefully as you progress next year with your trip down to London, your whole thing, I'm hoping the noise that you generate and the other people generate begins to build momentum, and Parkinsons UK take a little bit more notice. I know they've already got you on speed dial, but maybe a little bit more notice. It's fantastic. Listen, I cannot thank you enough. That has been an exciting episode. I've just been watching Adam grinning from ear to ear every time you mention certain things.
My wife is an NHS physio, and
I've
been messaging about what you're doing. So I'm blown away.
Well, hopefully people heard that. Adam was just saying that
I was blown away. I've been messaging my wife saying how amazing it is.
But that's fantastic. So just to end off, Keith, how can more people find out about, obviously, Vicky and Wellbeing, Kelly, and Wellbeing, or about yourselves and Parkinson's?
Right. So I'm chair of the Darlington Parkinson's support group.
Right.
And I started a Facebook group called Darlington Parkinson's Support Group.
Okay.
And so that's the main way you can find out where I'm up to.
We'll tag them in when we push it out.
Yeah, and anything at all of interest to the group I put on there. But obviously, I put little video clips of all the clients with their permission.
Yes.
And you can see the progression. So people who come in week 1 sitting down, you can see them by week 6 or 7 sort of doing all kinds of different activities.
You, again, if you don't mind me saying, do you also, I mean, obviously, bless, you are in the position where you've got Parkinson's, but you've seen the difference it's made to you. Do you get a real lovely feeling about seeing the other people?
Oh, absolutely, yeah.
I can imagine.
Yeah. The first cohort, I had like a paternalistic pride in seeing them all develop, and it was just wonderful.
I can imagine. Yeah. Because obviously, as you say, to them, you can see them smiling and actually enjoying.
And you can tell it even for an hour. You see them coming in all sort of because Parkinson's, you have a mask. Your facial muscles disappear.
Yeah,
you have to. I've worked hard at trying to maintain a smile.
It's a lovely smile. I can see when he comes out. See,
it's having a granddaughter that helps.
Oh, bless.
But yeah. And so, but they come in and they're wearing the Parkinson's mask, but by and they leave and they're all animated. Animation is one of the main things that happens in an hour. go out all smiley and cheerful, and then we go for a coffee afterwards at the Oak Tree.
Do you know what? Just fantastic. So the Darlington Facebook page, you can get hold of you there. Yeah.
And kwilson252@hotmail.co.uk.
Right, we'll get all of that put out there as well. That's fantastic. Keith, I can just genuinely
business
say...
cards coming soon.
Business cards coming soon with Activist. Can genuinely say it's been a pleasure and an honour for this podcast. I hope it gets a lot of traction as well. We'll send you out all of the clips and all that, but that's very kind of you. We normally end every episode on what are you doing at the weekend? So what will you be doing at the weekend?
I'm going to see Paddy McGuinness at Newcastle.
Ah, good old Paddy.
And staying at the Gray's Inn Hotel.
Ah, lovely place.
And I'm getting up very early on Sunday morning to go down to Sheffield and do the Percy Pud 10K. That's the start, 1st of December. Starts.
Put me to shame.
And my ambition is always to beat the guy who's in fancy dress as a Christmas tree.
Well, I've just started as part of my diet thing. I've just started the Couch to 5K.
Oh, wow.
I've got Sarah Milliken cheering me on doing the 5K.
Oh,
I'm up to 5 minutes running. I'm killing myself, but I'm actually enjoying it, so that's fine.
Yeah. Well, as soon as you get the 5K, go to the park runs on Saturday.
Yes.
So, I forgot I'll be doing park run Saturday as well.
Is there anything you don't do? It's incredible.
Don't sleep very well.
Oh, bless you. That's incredible. Well, me and my good lady wife, Michelle, we had a Christmas present last year that we've only just got round to sort of like claiming. And we're off down to Whitby. We're actually taking half a day off work, travelling to Whitby, and we're going to the Marina Hotel. I love my seafood. So we're going to spend the evening there and have a lovely seafood restaurant and then go for a walk around Whitby tomorrow.
Yeah, it's a big walk.
It'll be a big walk and it'll no doubt be freezing, but be beautiful to do. Keith, once again, thank you so much for your time. Really, really appreciate it. Hopefully, as I say, good luck with everything in the future.
My pleasure.
Thank you. Goodbye, everybody. Cheers.